Stop scrolling right now, because the next quarter you spend could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're uncovering 4 of the most talked about Washington state quarters in American coin collecting: the Wisconsin, Rhode Island, Arizona, and Oregon quarters. Some rare-era examples have shocked collectors by selling for thousands of dollars, and the hunt is still alive today. Could one of these hidden treasures be sitting in your pocket, your old coin jar, or a forgotten collection? Stay with us until the end, because one tiny detail could change the way you look at every quarter forever. Step 1. Have you ever looked at an old quarter in your pocket and wondered if it could be worth far more than just 25 cents? Imagine reaching into your change jar, pulling out a dusty 2004 Wisconsin state quarter with a tiny D mint mark, and discovering that collectors across America have spent years searching for that very coin. While many stories on the internet claim that these quarters are worth millions of dollars or can make someone rich overnight, the real story is even more fascinating. It is a story of mystery, rare mint errors, collector excitement, and a single design that became one of the most talked about coins in the history of the United States Mint. Today, we're uncovering the complete history of the famous 2004 Wisconsin state quarter, revealing why certain examples have sold for thousands of dollars, what makes them special, and how you can tell whether the coin in your own collection deserves a closer look. The story begins long before the coin was ever struck. In 1999, the United States Mint introduced one of the most successful coin programs in American history, known as the 50 State Quarters program. The goal was simple yet brilliant. Every state would receive its own unique quarter design, released in the order that each state joined the Union. Instead of using the same reverse design year after year, Americans suddenly found themselves searching through their pocket change for coins that celebrated their nation's history. Families began collecting them in albums, children learned about each state's heritage, and millions of people who had never paid attention to coins became enthusiastic collectors. It was a historic moment that transformed ordinary pocket change into miniature works of art filled with stories from every corner of America. By the time Wisconsin's turn arrived in 2004, excitement for the program had reached incredible heights. Wisconsin had entered the Union in 1848, and its state quarter proudly displayed that important date. The design was chosen to honor the state's agricultural heritage, which had earned Wisconsin the nickname America's Dairyland. On the reverse of the coin, a beautiful dairy cow stands beside a wheel of cheese and an ear of corn. Above the artwork appears the word Wisconsin, while below are the dates, 1848 and 2004. The word "forward," Wisconsin's official state motto, reminds everyone of the state's spirit of progress and determination. Around the edge are the familiar words "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," a phrase that has represented the unity of the United States for generations. The front of the quarter features the portrait of George Washington, one of the most recognized faces in the world of coin collecting. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions "United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust," and "Quarter Dollar." If the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, it carries a small D mint mark. If it was struck in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark. Millions of these coins entered circulation during 2004, and for most people, they were simply another quarter used for shopping, vending machines, or parking meters. Few could have imagined that one tiny detail on a handful of these coins would eventually create one of the most famous mint-era stories in modern American numismatic history. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Banks distributed rolls of the new Wisconsin quarters, stores handed them out as change, and collectors placed perfect examples into albums. Then, sharp-eyed collectors noticed something strange. On a very small number of Denver-minted Wisconsin quarters, the ear of corn appeared to have an extra leaf. This was not part of the official design approved by the United States Mint. Instead, it looked like an additional leaf had mysteriously appeared on the left side of the corn stalk. Even more surprising, there were actually 2 different versions. One showed the extra leaf pointing upward, which collectors later called the extra leaf high variety. The second showed the extra leaf pointing downward and became known as the extra leaf low variety. These unusual features immediately sparked curiosity, debate, and excitement throughout the coin collecting community. collectors began asking an important question. How could such a mistake happen inside one of the world's most advanced minting facilities? Over the years, several theories have been suggested. Some experts believe the extra leaf appeared because the coin die was accidentally damaged during production. Others have wondered whether the die may have been intentionally altered before being used to strike coins. Although many opinions have been offered, the exact cause has never been officially confirmed beyond doubt. That lingering mystery has only added to the coin's legendary reputation. Sometimes, unanswered questions make a collectible even more desirable, because every collector enjoys owning a piece of history surrounded by mystery. As news spread through newspapers, coin magazines, and collector clubs, demand for the Era quarter exploded. People searched through jars of spare change, unopened bank rolls, and family coin collections, hoping to discover one of these elusive varieties. Dealers carefully inspected thousands of Wisconsin quarters, while professional grading companies authenticated genuine examples to separate them from altered coins. Suddenly, a quarter that normally bought almost nothing could, in rare cases, sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and the exact variety. The excitement reminded many collectors that remarkable discoveries can still be hiding in everyday pocket change. However, it is important to understand the difference between a rare era coin and an ordinary Wisconsin quarter. Most 2004D Wisconsin quarters are common and are worth only their face value if they have been heavily circulated. A regular coin without the famous extra leaf is not automatically valuable simply because it is old or carries a Denver mint mark. What creates collector demand is the combination of a genuine mint era, limited availability, strong collector interest, and outstanding preservation. Coins that remain uncirculated, showing almost no wear, are naturally more attractive to collectors than pieces that have spent years passing from hand to hand. That is why condition plays such a powerful role in determining value. In the world of coin collecting, even the smallest difference can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. A tiny raised line, an unexpected doubling, or a missing design element can completely change how collectors view a coin. The Wisconsin extra leaf varieties are perfect examples of this principle. They remind us that history is sometimes written not by perfection, but by mistakes. What began as an unexpected era became one of the most celebrated modern varieties in American coin collecting, inspiring thousands of people to learn more about minting, grading, and the fascinating hobby of numismatics. As interest continued to grow, professional grading companies carefully examined these unusual coins. Their specialists confirmed that the extra leaves were genuine varieties rather than simple scratches or circulation damage. Once authenticated and graded, the finest examples attracted strong attention from serious collectors. Coins preserved in exceptional condition naturally commanded the highest prices because they combined rarity with outstanding eye appeal. While many ordinary Wisconsin quarters remained worth only 25 cents, authenticated extra leaf varieties in high grades sometimes sold for hundreds or even several $1,000s. These impressive sales fueled even greater excitement and encouraged more people to search through their change. One reason these coins became so famous is that they appeared during the enormously popular 50-state quarters program. Millions of Americans were already collecting every new state quarter, so news of a rare era spread faster than it might have in earlier decades. Children checked piggy banks, parents searched kitchen drawers, grandparents looked through old coin jars, and experienced collectors opened boxes of bank rolls hoping to find the next valuable discovery. Few modern coins have inspired such widespread public excitement. Although many stories circulate on social media claiming that every 2004D Wisconsin quarter is worth tens of thousands or even millions of dollars, experienced collectors know that value depends on several important factors. The first is authenticity. A genuine extra leaf variety must match the known characteristics recognized by experts. The second factor is condition. A heavily worn coin with scratches and stains will almost always sell for less than a crisp, uncirculated example showing its original mint luster. The third factor is collector demand, which can rise or fall over time as more buyers enter the market or additional examples are discovered. Another important lesson from the Wisconsin Quarter is that patience often rewards collectors. Many valuable coins are not recognized immediately after they leave the mint. Sometimes years pass before someone notices an unusual feature. In other cases, collectors understand that a variety exists, but locating one remains extremely difficult because so few survive in excellent condition. This is why experienced numismatists recommend carefully examining every unusual coin before spending it. A few extra minutes of attention can sometimes reveal a fascinating piece of American minting history. Unfortunately, whenever a valuable coin becomes famous, counterfeit examples also begin appearing. Some dishonest individuals have attempted to carve or engrave an extra leaf onto ordinary Wisconsin quarters, hoping to fool inexperienced buyers. At first glance, these altered coins may appear convincing, but under magnification, they often reveal rough tool marks, unnatural surfaces, or details that do not match genuine examples. This is why collectors should never rely solely on internet photographs or social media claims. Purchasing certified coins from respected dealers or having an unusual coin authenticated by a professional grading service provides far greater confidence than relying on guesswork. The Wisconsin Quarter also teaches an important lesson about coin preservation. Many people unknowingly reduce the value of collectible coins by cleaning them. A shiny appearance may seem attractive, but cleaning usually leaves tiny scratches that experienced collectors can immediately recognize. In the numismatic world, original surfaces are highly prized because they preserve the coin exactly as it left the mint. If you believe you have discovered an unusual Wisconsin quarter, the safest approach is to handle it only by its edges, place it in a protective holder, and avoid polishing or scrubbing it. Sometimes doing nothing is the best way to protect a coin's future value. Even today, more than 2 decades after its release, the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter continues to fascinate collectors around the world. It serves as proof that even in the modern age, surprising mint errors can capture the imagination of an entire hobby. It also reminds us that every coin carries a story. Some stories celebrate history, others honor famous people, and a rare few tell the unexpected tale of a tiny minting mistake that transformed an ordinary quarter into one of the most celebrated modern collectibles in the United States. But perhaps the greatest lesson is this: true treasure hunting is built on knowledge rather than luck. Anyone can hear rumors about million-dollar coins, but successful collectors learn the details, study genuine examples, understand grading standards, and recognize the difference between fact and fiction. That knowledge is what turns casual curiosity into informed collecting, and it is the reason the Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter remains one of the most memorable chapters in modern American coin history. Every coin begins its life as nothing more than a flat metal blank, but the journey from a simple piece of metal to a collectible treasure is far more complicated than most people realize. Inside the United States Mint, powerful machines operate with incredible speed and precision. Massive rolls of metal are cut into perfectly round blanks, cleaned until they shine, heated and softened to prepare them for striking, and then fed into high-speed presses capable of producing hundreds of coins every minute. Each press uses 2 specially engraved dies that force the design into the blank with tremendous pressure. Under normal circumstances, every quarter leaving the press should look exactly like the one before it. Yet even in a system designed for perfection, small imperfections sometimes find their way into production. Those rare imperfections are what collectors call mint errors, and they are responsible for creating some of the most fascinating coins in American history. The 2004 Wisconsin Quarter became famous because of one of these unexpected imperfections. The extra leaf high and extra leaf low varieties appear on the ear of corn shown on the reverse of the coin. Instead of the official design, these rare quarters display what looks like an additional leaf growing from the stalk. Although the difference may seem tiny, experienced collectors know that even the smallest design change can transform an ordinary circulating coin into an important collectible. The excitement surrounding these varieties proves that size does not determine importance. Sometimes the smallest details create the greatest stories. Many people ask whether the United States Mint intentionally created these extra leaves. No official evidence has ever confirmed that claim. Most experts believe the varieties resulted from damage or alteration to a working die before or during production. Once that die began striking coins, every quarter produced from it carried the same unusual feature until the die was replaced. Because only a limited number of coins were struck from those affected dies, the varieties remained scarce compared with the millions of normal Wisconsin. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history of the 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter. If you enjoyed learning about this remarkable coin, be sure to stay curious, keep searching your pocket change, and continue exploring the incredible stories hidden inside America's coins. Every coin has a history, every design has a purpose, and every collection begins with a single discovery. Perhaps your next quarter will be more than just 25 cents. Perhaps it will be the beginning of your own collecting adventure. Step 2. Have you ever stopped to think that one ordinary-looking quarter in your pocket could have a story stretching back more than 2 centuries? Every day, millions of Americans spend coins without giving them a second glance. They drop them into vending machines, leave them on store counters, or toss them into jars at home. Yet among those ordinary coins are pieces of American history that have fascinated collectors for decades. One of those coins is the 2001 Rhode Island State Quarter, a coin that honors America's smallest state while reminding us that even the smallest places can leave an unforgettable mark on history. Today, we are uncovering the complete story behind this remarkable coin, exploring its design, its history, its minting, its collector appeal, and the reasons why certain examples are worth much more than their face value. The Rhode Island State Quarter was released in 2001 as part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, an ambitious project launched by the United States Mint to celebrate every state in the order they joined the Union. The program quickly became one of the most successful coin initiatives in American history. It encouraged millions of people to begin collecting coins, inspired children to learn about geography and history, and transformed ordinary pocket change into a nationwide educational experience. By the time Rhode Island's quarter was released, collectors across the country eagerly anticipated each new design, wondering how every state would choose to represent its unique identity. Rhode Island became the 13th state to join the Union in 1790. Although it is the smallest state by area, its influence on American history has always been far greater than its size suggests. The state played a significant role in maritime trade, shipbuilding, and the early growth of American commerce. Its long coastline and deep connection to the Atlantic Ocean earned it the proud nickname, the Ocean State. Rather than focusing on government buildings or historical figures, the designers chose to celebrate Rhode Island's close relationship with the sea, creating one of the most peaceful and elegant designs in the entire State Quarters series. On the reverse of the coin, a graceful sailboat glides across Narragansett Bay beneath the towering Claiborne Pell Bridge. The calm waters, the open sky, and the bridge stretching across the horizon create a design filled with movement and tranquility. Above the scene appears the name Rhode Island, while below are the dates 1790 and 2001. The words "the Ocean State" proudly identify the state's nickname, while "E pluribus unum" reminds Americans of the unity shared by every state in the nation. The design captures both Rhode Island's natural beauty and its long tradition as a center of maritime life. The front of the coin carries the familiar portrait of George Washington, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter. If the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, it bears the small letter D beside Washington's portrait. Millions of these quarters were produced during 2001, entering circulation through banks, businesses, and cash registers across the United States. Most were spent immediately in everyday transactions, while others were carefully saved by collectors who hoped the complete state quarters collection would one day become a treasured family keepsake. For years, the Rhode Island quarter quietly circulated without attracting the same level of attention as some other state quarters. Unlike certain coins famous for dramatic mint eras, the Rhode Island quarter built its reputation through its artistic design, historical symbolism, and collector demand for well-preserved examples. As time passed, collectors realized that high-grade examples with sharp details and brilliant mint luster were becoming increasingly difficult to find because so many coins had entered everyday circulation and gradually accumulated scratches, wear, and damage. One of the most important lessons in coin collecting is that rarity does not always come from age alone. A coin can be relatively modern and still become valuable if it survives in exceptional condition or displays a genuine mint era. Many beginners assume that any old coin automatically carries a high price, but experienced collectors know that value depends on a combination of rarity, preservation, demand, and authenticity. These principles apply just as strongly to the Rhode Island State Quarter as they do to some of America's most famous collectible coins. The Denver Mint, identified by the letter D, has produced billions of coins over the years, supplying much of the western United States with circulating coinage. During the State Quarters program, Denver struck enormous quantities of Rhode Island quarters. Even though millions were produced, only a tiny percentage remain in nearly perfect condition today. Coins that escaped circulation immediately after leaving the mint often retain their original shine, crisp details, and attractive surfaces, making them especially desirable among collectors seeking the finest known examples. As the popularity of modern coin collecting continued to grow, professional grading companies began carefully examining Rhode Island quarters submitted by collectors. These experts assign numerical grades based on the coin's condition, evaluating everything from surface quality to strike sharpness and overall eye appeal. The difference between an average circulated coin and an outstanding mint state example can be dramatic. While one coin may be worth only 25 cents, another, with exceptional preservation, can command a significantly higher premium because collectors compete for the highest quality specimens available. Although stories often appear online claiming that ordinary state quarters are worth millions of dollars, responsible collectors know the importance of separating exciting rumors from verified facts. Extraordinary prices are usually reserved for extremely rare coins with unique characteristics, famous historical importance, or exceptional mint eras. The Rhode Island quarter has earned respect within the hobby not because every example is incredibly valuable, but because it represents an important chapter in one of America's most successful coin programs and offers collectors the thrill of searching for outstanding examples. As we continue exploring this fascinating coin, we will uncover how it was produced, what collectors look for when evaluating its quality, the types of genuine mint eras that can increase value, and why this beautiful tribute to America's ocean state continues to attract the attention of collectors more than 2 decades after it first entered circulation. When the Rhode Island State Quarter officially entered circulation in 2001, few people imagined that it would become part of one of the greatest collecting movements in modern American history. Banks received sealed bags filled with newly minted quarters, businesses stocked their cash drawers, and millions of Americans received the shiny new coins as everyday change. To most people, it was simply another quarter, but to collectors, it represented another exciting step toward completing the historic 50 state quarters collection. Across the country, families opened fresh coin rolls together, children filled blue collector maps, and experienced numismatists searched for the finest examples before they entered heavy circulation. Fresh from the Denver Mint, every Rhode Island quarter displayed brilliant mint luster, sharp details, and crisp lettering. Under bright light, the coin reflected a beautiful cartwheel effect that only newly struck coins possess. As months turned into years, however, these brilliant surfaces slowly disappeared. Coins rubbed against other coins inside pockets and cash registers picked up tiny scratches and gradually lost their original shine. That natural wear explains why truly outstanding mint state examples have become much harder to find than many people expect. While millions were produced, far fewer survive today with the same fresh appearance they had on the day they left the mint. Collectors often describe coin collecting as a treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Unlike ancient artifacts buried underground, modern coins continue to circulate through ordinary daily life. Every purchase at a grocery store, every handful of change from a gas station, and every forgotten coin jar in a family home carries the possibility, however small, of revealing an interesting variety or an unusually well-preserved example. That excitement keeps collectors checking dates, mint marks, and designs even after decades of searching. The Rhode Island quarter may not be famous for a single dramatic error like the Wisconsin extra leaf variety, but that does not mean interesting mint mistakes cannot exist. During the minting process, small mechanical problems occasionally create unusual coins. A strike may be slightly off-center, a die may develop cracks, or a coin may show doubled design elements caused by imperfections in the die. These genuine mint errors are uncommon, and when they occur on well-preserved coins, they often attract the attention of collectors. Every authentic error tells the story of a brief moment when the minting process produced something different from the original design. Because modern technology allows people to alter coins at home, collectors must also be cautious. Not every unusual-looking coin is a genuine mint error. Damage caused after the coin leaves the mint, such as scratches, dents, grinding, or deliberate carving, does not create collectible value in the same way as a true mint error. Experienced numismatists carefully study the shape, texture, and location of unusual features before deciding whether they originated during production or after years of circulation. This careful examination is one reason education remains one of the most valuable tools in the hobby. Another fascinating aspect of the Rhode Island quarter is its artistic symbolism. The sailboat crossing Narragansett Bay is more than a decorative image. It reflects centuries of Rhode Island's connection to the sea, its traditions of fishing and sailing, and its importance in maritime trade. The Claiborne-Pell Bridge, stretching across the background, represents engineering achievement while connecting communities across the bay. Together, these elements create one of the most balanced and peaceful designs in the entire State Quarters series, making the coin a favorite among collectors who appreciate both history and art. As collector demand for high-quality State Quarters increased, grading standards became increasingly important. Tiny differences almost invisible to the average person can separate an ordinary mint state coin from one considered among the finest known. A coin with flawless surfaces, strong luster, excellent strike quality, and very few contact marks naturally receives greater attention from collectors willing to pay premium prices. These small differences demonstrate why two coins struck on the same day can eventually have dramatically different market values. Over the years, exceptional Rhode Island quarters certified in top mint state grades have sold for significantly more than face value, especially when eye appeal and preservation combine to create an outstanding example. Meanwhile, ordinary circulated coins continue to pass through cash registers every day worth exactly 25 cents. This contrast teaches one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Rarity is not created by age alone, but by the combination of condition, demand, and authenticity. Understanding these principles allows collectors to appreciate coins for what they truly are rather than relying on exaggerated internet rumors. The Rhode Island State Quarter also reflects the broader success of the 50 State Quarters program itself. Before the program began in 1999, many Americans rarely paid attention to the coins in their pockets. Within just a few years, millions of people had become collectors. Schools used the quarters to teach geography and history, grandparents introduced grandchildren to the hobby, and families built collections together one state at a time. The Rhode Island Quarter became part of that nationwide tradition, reminding Americans that every state contributes its own unique chapter to the country's shared story. Even today, more than 2 decades after its release, the Rhode Island State Quarter continues to inspire curiosity. Whether someone admires its elegant design, appreciates its historical significance, or hopes to discover an unusually well-preserved specimen, the coin remains a symbol of how everyday objects can preserve extraordinary stories. It proves that collecting is not simply about finding expensive coins. It is about understanding the history, craftsmanship, and meaning behind every piece of American currency. Those lessons ensure that the Rhode Island quarter will continue to hold an honored place in collections for many years to come. As the years passed, the 2001 Rhode Island State Quarter quietly earned a respected place in modern American numismatics. It never relied on sensational headlines or unbelievable stories to become memorable. Instead, its reputation grew because collectors admired its elegant design, appreciated its connection to American history, and recognized that finding exceptional examples was becoming increasingly difficult. Many coins that once looked brilliant eventually became worn through everyday use, making untouched mint state examples more desirable with each passing year. This gradual change is common in coin collecting. Time naturally separates ordinary circulated coins from the finest survivors, and those surviving examples often become the most sought after. For many collectors, the excitement begins with simple curiosity. A person may notice that one Rhode Island quarter looks brighter than another, or that the details appear unusually sharp. That single observation often leads to a closer inspection under magnification. Every letter, every line of the sailboat, every cable on the bridge, and every detail of George Washington's portrait becomes part of a careful examination. Experienced collectors understand that patience is one of the hobby's greatest strengths. Valuable discoveries rarely happen through luck alone. They happen because someone takes the time to look more closely than everyone else. Professional grading services have transformed the modern coin market by providing independent opinions about authenticity and condition. When an exceptional Rhode Island quarter is submitted for certification, specialists examine its surfaces under controlled lighting, looking for imperfections, strike quality, luster, and signs of wear. After careful evaluation, the coin receives a numerical grade that helps buyers and sellers understand its quality. Coins receiving the highest mint state grades are especially respected because they represent some of the finest known survivors from the original mintage. Even tiny differences in preservation can influence collector demand and market value. The Rhode Island quarter also demonstrates how artistic design contributes to long-term popularity. The sailboat gracefully crossing Narragansett Bay reflects freedom, exploration, and Rhode Island's deep relationship with the Atlantic Ocean. The Claiborne Pell Bridge symbolizes connection, progress, and engineering achievement. Unlike designs filled with numerous historical figures or complex scenes, Rhode Island's quarter communicates its identity through simplicity and balance. That artistic approach has earned praise from collectors who appreciate coins not only as money, but also as miniature works of American art. Occasionally, collectors discover Rhode Island quarters displaying genuine mint errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or other production abnormalities. These pieces attract attention because they reveal rare moments when the minting process did not perform exactly as intended. Every authentic error tells its own story, capturing a brief mechanical event frozen forever in metal. While such coins are uncommon, they remind collectors that perfection is difficult to achieve even in highly advanced manufacturing facilities. These unusual pieces add another layer of fascination to an already historic coin series. As our exploration continues toward its conclusion, one truth becomes clear. The real treasure hidden inside the Rhode Island State Quarter is not an unrealistic promise of overnight wealth, but the fascinating history, craftsmanship, and enduring curiosity it represents. Those qualities have allowed this modest 25-cent coin to earn a permanent place in one of the most successful collecting programs ever created by the United States Mint. Its story continues every time a collector opens an old coin album, examines a fresh handful of change, or discovers another beautiful example that has survived the passage of time almost exactly as it appeared on the day it was struck in 2001. Step 3. Imagine reaching into your pocket after buying a cup of coffee, pulling out a single quarter, and almost tossing it into a change jar without another thought. At first glance, it looks like every other coin that has passed through your hands over the years. George Washington appears on the front, the familiar words United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter surround the portrait, and a small D mint mark quietly tells you the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Then you flip it over and discover one of the most breathtaking designs ever placed on an American coin. Towering cliffs, one of the world's greatest natural wonders, and the towering saguaro cactus instantly reveal that this is the Arizona State Quarter. It is more than just a piece of pocket change. It is a small piece of American history that celebrates one of the most remarkable landscapes on Earth and has become a favorite among collectors searching for beautiful designs, outstanding condition, and genuine mint errors. The Arizona State Quarter was officially released in 2008, not 2003, as part of the historic United States Mint 50 State Quarters program. Arizona became the 48th state to join the Union in 1912, making it one of the final states honored in the series. By the time Arizona's quarter entered circulation, millions of Americans had already spent nearly a decade collecting every state quarter released before it. Families eagerly waited for each new design, children proudly filled their collection folders, and experienced collectors searched for the highest quality examples the moment they reached local banks. Arizona's arrival near the end of the program made its release especially exciting because collectors knew the historic series was approaching its conclusion. Designing Arizona's quarter required capturing the spirit of an entire state in a space barely larger than an inch. Artists wanted people to recognize Arizona immediately without needing to read the name. Their solution became one of the most admired designs in the entire series. The reverse features the magnificent Grand Canyon stretching across the background, while an impressive saguaro cactus stands proudly in the foreground. A winding banner separates the two images, reminding viewers that although both represent Arizona, the famous saguaro cactus does not naturally grow inside the Grand Canyon itself. Above the design appears the word Arizona, while below are the dates, 1912 and 2008. The nickname Grand Canyon State proudly identifies one of America's most recognizable natural landmarks, while the inscription E pluribus unum continues the tradition shared by every state quarter. From the moment the Arizona quarter entered circulation, collectors admired its balance of history, geography, and artistic beauty. Unlike coins that celebrate historical buildings or political figures, Arizona's quarter honors the dramatic landscapes that have inspired travelers for generations. The Grand Canyon is not simply a tourist attraction. It is a geological masterpiece carved over millions of years by the Colorado River, exposing layers of Earth's history that stretch deep into the past. By placing this extraordinary landscape on a circulating coin, the United States Mint allowed millions of people to carry one of America's greatest natural wonders in their pockets every day. The Denver Mint, identified by the letter D, produced hundreds of millions of Arizona quarters for circulation throughout the United States. These coins traveled quickly from the mint to Federal Reserve banks and then to businesses across the country. Cashiers handed them out as change, vending machines accepted them without hesitation, and countless examples disappeared into everyday circulation almost immediately. Yet collectors understood something important. Although millions were struck, not every coin would remain in perfect condition. Every trip through a cash register, every scratch against another coin, and every year spent in circulation slowly reduced the number of outstanding examples available for future collectors. That simple reality explains why exceptional Mint State Arizona quarters continue attracting attention long after their original release. For many people, the Arizona quarter became the first coin that inspired them to learn more about the hobby of numismatics. A child fascinated by the image of the Grand Canyon might begin collecting every state quarter, eventually discovering that each design tells a different chapter of American history. One coin leads to another, curiosity grows, and before long an ordinary collection of pocket change becomes a lifelong interest. This educational impact remains one of the greatest achievements of the 50 State Quarters program. It encouraged millions of Americans to see coins not merely as money, but as historical documents, artistic creations, and symbols of national identity. Despite countless stories shared online about ordinary quarters being worth unbelievable fortunes, experienced collectors understand that true value depends upon rarity, authenticity, condition, and collector demand. Most Arizona quarters remain worth their face value because they circulated heavily and exist in large numbers. However, coins displaying genuine mint eras or preserved in exceptional condition can become significantly more desirable. The excitement comes not from unrealistic promises of overnight riches, but from the possibility of discovering something genuinely unusual hidden among ordinary change. That sense of possibility continues attracting new collectors year after year. Every Arizona quarter carries the same message regardless of its market value. It reminds us that history, art, geography, and craftsmanship can all exist within a single 25-cent coin. Whether someone admires the breathtaking Grand Canyon, appreciates the symbolism of the towering saguaro cactus, or simply enjoys completing a state quarters collection, the Arizona quarter offers something meaningful to every collector. Its story is one of national pride, remarkable design, and the enduring excitement of discovering history in the palm of your hand. When the Arizona State Quarter was introduced in 2008, excitement spread quickly across the United States. Coin collectors had already spent nearly 10 years building complete state quarters collections, and Arizona represented one of the final chapters in this historic journey. Banks received brand new rolls of shining quarters directly from the Federal Reserve, and before long those coins found their way into grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, and shopping malls across the country. Millions of Americans unknowingly held the Arizona quarter in their hands during its very first days of circulation, never imagining that years later many collectors would still be searching for beautiful examples with crisp details and original mint luster. A newly struck Arizona quarter has a distinctive appearance that immediately catches the eye. The surfaces glow with bright metallic brilliance, the lettering appears sharp and well-defined, and every detail of the Grand Canyon and saguaro cactus is clear. Fresh from the minting press, the coin reflects light in a smooth circular pattern that collectors often call the cartwheel effect. This original mint luster is one of the first characteristics experts examine when evaluating a coin's condition. Once a coin enters circulation, that brilliant finish gradually fades as the coin rubs against other coins, keys, and countless hands during everyday use. Inside the Denver Mint, every Arizona quarter followed a carefully controlled production process. Large sheets of metal were transformed into perfectly round blanks before moving through cleaning, heating, and striking operations. Powerful presses stamped both sides of the coin with enormous force, creating the detailed designs that millions of people recognize today. Even though the equipment was built for precision, no manufacturing process is completely perfect. On rare occasions, mechanical problems produced unusual coins that later became collectible mint errors. These rare mistakes remind collectors that even advanced technology can produce unexpected results. Among the mint errors that collectors search for are off-center strikes, where the coin design is not perfectly aligned with the blank, creating an unusual appearance. Another possibility is a die crack, where a crack develops in the steel die and leaves a raised line on every coin struck afterward. Some collectors also search for die chips, retained cuds, or clipped planchets, each representing a different stage in the minting process where something unusual occurred. These genuine mint errors are uncommon, and because they originated during production rather than after circulation, they often receive strong interest from collectors. One important lesson that every collector learns is that not every unusual-looking coin is valuable. Coins experience years of rough handling after they leave the mint. They are dropped on sidewalks, scraped across counters, exposed to chemicals, and sometimes intentionally altered by people hoping to imitate valuable mint errors. Scratches, dents, discoloration, and environmental damage usually reduce a coin's desirability instead of increasing it. Genuine mint errors display consistent characteristics created during production, while post-mint damage often appears irregular and lacks the distinctive features recognized by specialists. Learning to tell the difference is one of the most valuable skills a collector can develop. The Arizona quarter is admired not only because of its collectible potential, but also because of its artistic storytelling. The Grand Canyon dominates the background, reminding Americans of one of the world's greatest natural wonders. Stretching approximately 277 miles through northern Arizona, the canyon reveals millions of years of geological history carved by the Colorado River. The towering saguaro cactus, standing proudly in the foreground, represents another iconic symbol of Arizona. These remarkable plants can live for well over a century and grow to impressive heights, becoming unmistakable landmarks of the Sonoran Desert. Together, these two images capture the state's extraordinary natural beauty in a single design. Collectors often describe coin collecting as preserving history one coin at a time. Every Arizona quarter represents more than a monetary denomination. It captures a moment in the nation's history when the United States Mint celebrated each state's unique identity through circulating coinage. Long after the program ended, these quarters continue educating new generations about geography, history, and American culture. Children who once searched for Arizona quarters in their pocket change are now adults introducing the hobby to their own families, proving that the influence of the state quarters program extends far beyond the coins themselves. Professional grading has become increasingly important for modern collectible coins. A coin that appears nearly perfect to an inexperienced eye may display tiny imperfections visible only under magnification. Specialists evaluate strike quality, surface preservation, luster, contact marks, and overall eye appeal before assigning a numerical grade. Arizona quarters receiving the highest mint state grades attract greater collector attention because they represent the finest surviving examples from the original production. Although such coins are far less common than ordinary circulated pieces, they demonstrate how condition alone can significantly influence collector value. Even after years of circulation, the Arizona State Quarter continues to inspire curiosity among collectors worldwide. Some admire its remarkable design, others search for genuine mint errors, and many simply appreciate its place within one of the most successful coin programs ever created. Whatever the reason, the Arizona Quarter remains a reminder that extraordinary stories can be hidden within ordinary objects. Every time someone carefully examines a quarter before spending it, they continue a tradition shared by generations of collectors who understand that history often reveals itself through the smallest details. As the Arizona State Quarter continued circulating across the United States, its reputation steadily grew among collectors. It was not because every coin carried an extraordinary price tag, but because the design represented one of the most memorable finales to the historic 50-state quarters program. The combination of the Grand Canyon and the towering saguaro cactus created a coin that people remembered long after they had spent it. Even collectors who specialized in older American coins often admitted that Arizona's quarter was among the finest artistic achievements of the modern series. Its beauty alone encouraged thousands of people to preserve bright, uncirculated examples for future generations. One of the greatest lessons the Arizona Quarter teaches is that knowledge is far more valuable than rumors. Exciting headlines on social media sometimes claim that every state quarter is worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. In reality, experienced collectors evaluate every coin carefully before assigning value. They look at its authenticity, its condition, whether it has a genuine mint era, and how many similar examples are known to exist. These factors, not internet rumors, determine whether a coin is common or genuinely collectible. Understanding this difference helps new collectors build realistic expectations while enjoying the hobby even more. If you own an Arizona quarter and want to examine it, begin with good lighting and a magnifying glass. Look closely at the date, the D mint mark if it was struck in Denver, the lettering, and every detail of the reverse design. Check whether the coin shows signs of unusual production characteristics rather than ordinary wear or damage. A true mint error will usually display consistent features that match known error types, while random scratches or dents almost always result from circulation after the coin left the mint. Careful observation is the foundation of successful coin collecting. Step 4. There are moments in life when an ordinary object suddenly becomes extraordinary. Imagine reaching into your pocket after a routine purchase and finding a quarter that seems no different from the countless others you've handled over the years. The familiar portrait of George Washington stares back at you, surrounded by the words United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter. A small letter D beside the portrait tells you the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Then you turn the coin over and discover one of the most breathtaking landscapes ever placed on American currency. Before your eyes is Crater Lake, its deep blue waters surrounded by towering cliffs, captured forever in metal. This is the 2005 Oregon State Quarter, a coin that represents far more than 25 cents. It tells the story of natural beauty, American history, remarkable craftsmanship, and the excitement of coin collecting that continues to inspire millions of people around the world. The Oregon State Quarter became part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin series ever introduced by the United States Mint. Beginning in 1999, each state received its own unique quarter in the order it joined the Union. The program encouraged Americans to learn about geography, history, and culture while building collections one state at a time. By the time Oregon's quarter was released in 2005, collectors across the country eagerly anticipated every new design. Coin albums filled rapidly, families searched through their pocket change together, and children discovered that even everyday coins could tell remarkable stories about the nation they represented. Oregon entered the Union in 1859, becoming the 33rd state. Known for its forests, mountains, rivers, and dramatic coastline, Oregon has long been celebrated for its spectacular natural scenery. When it came time to choose a design for the state quarter, officials selected one location recognized around the world for its extraordinary beauty, Crater Lake. Rather than featuring historical figures or government buildings, the coin celebrates one of America's greatest natural wonders, allowing millions of people to carry a tiny image of this magnificent landscape wherever they go. The reverse of the Oregon quarter presents an unforgettable view of Crater Lake. The calm water reflects the surrounding cliffs, while the famous Wizard Island rises peacefully from the lake's center. Snow-covered peaks frame the horizon, reminding viewers of the volcanic forces that created this remarkable place thousands of years ago. Above the design appears the name Oregon, while below are the dates 1859 and 2005. The inscription Crater Lake proudly identifies the scene, while E pluribus unum continues the long-standing tradition found on every state quarter. The design captures both the power of nature and the quiet beauty that has attracted visitors from around the world for generations. Crater Lake itself has an incredible story. Thousands of years ago, the massive volcano known as Mount Mazama erupted with tremendous force before collapsing inward to form a giant volcanic caldera. Over time, rain and snow filled the basin, creating the deepest lake in the United States. Because no rivers flow into or out of the lake, the water remains exceptionally clear, giving Crater Lake its famous deep blue color. By placing this geological wonder on the Oregon quarter, the United States Mint celebrated not only the state's history, but also one of the most remarkable natural landscapes in North America. The Denver Mint, represented by the letter D, produced hundreds of millions of Oregon State quarters for circulation. Powerful minting presses struck these coins with incredible precision, creating sharp lettering, detailed artwork, and brilliant mint luster. Fresh from the mint, every coin displayed bright surfaces that reflected light beautifully. As the years passed, however, many examples entered heavy circulation. They accumulated scratches, lost their original shine, and gradually showed signs of wear. This natural process explains why collectors place such importance on finding coins that have remained in outstanding condition since the day they were struck. For experienced collectors, condition is one of the most important factors affecting value. Two Oregon quarters may share the same date, mint mark, and design, yet one may be worth only face value while the other commands a premium because it has survived almost perfectly. Collectors examine the sharpness of the strike, the brightness of the original mint luster, the number of contact marks, and the overall appearance before deciding how desirable a coin truly is. Even tiny differences in preservation can significantly influence collector demand. Although the Oregon Quarter is admired primarily for its beautiful design, genuine mint errors also attract attention within the collecting community. During production, unusual mechanical events occasionally create off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, or clipped planchets. These authentic mint errors are uncommon because the mint maintains strict quality control throughout production. When such pieces are discovered and authenticated, they often become prized additions to specialized collections because they represent rare moments when the normal minting process produced something unique. One of the reasons the Oregon Quarter remains so popular is that it appeals to many different types of collectors. Nature enthusiasts admire the breathtaking image of Crater Lake. History lovers appreciate Oregon's journey to statehood in 1859. Modern coin collectors seek outstanding mint state examples for their albums, while era specialists search for unusual production varieties. This broad appeal has helped the Oregon Quarter maintain its popularity long after the State Quarters program officially concluded. Today, the 2005 Oregon State Quarter serves as a reminder that even ordinary pocket change can preserve extraordinary stories. It celebrates one of America's greatest natural wonders while encouraging people to explore the history hidden within everyday coins. Most examples remain worth their face value, but exceptional uncirculated pieces and genuine mint errors continue attracting collector interest because of their rarity and quality. As we continue exploring the Oregon Quarter, we will uncover the fascinating journey from the mint to collectors' albums, examine how specialists identify remarkable examples, and discover why this beautiful coin continues to capture the imagination of collectors nearly 2 decades after its release. As the first Oregon State Quarters entered circulation in 2005, they quickly traveled farther than anyone could have imagined. Within weeks, they appeared in cash registers, vending machines, bank rolls, and pockets across the United States. Some people admired the beautiful image of Crater Lake for only a few seconds before spending the coin again. Others immediately recognized that this quarter represented another important chapter in the historic 50 State Quarters program and carefully placed shining examples into protective albums. Those simple decisions created 2 very different futures. One group of coins began a long journey through everyday commerce, while another remained preserved almost exactly as they appeared on the day they left the Denver Mint. Collectors often say that every coin tells 2 stories. The first is the story chosen by the designers, showing the people, places, and symbols that represent a state. The second is the story created after the coin enters circulation. Every small scratch, every mark, and every sign of wear reflects years of travel from one person to another. Some Oregon Quarters crossed the country thousands of times, passing through restaurants, grocery stores, airports, and businesses before finally ending up in someone's collection. Others remained untouched inside original mint rolls, preserving the same brilliant appearance they had when they were first struck. This difference in preservation is one of the reasons collectors value certain coins much more highly than others. For those hoping to discover a collectible Oregon Quarter, careful observation is the most valuable skill. Experienced collectors begin by examining the coin under bright light. They study the portrait of George Washington, inspect the D mint mark, and carefully observe every detail of Crater Lake, Wizard Island, and the surrounding cliffs. Genuine mint errors are usually subtle, but they display consistent characteristics created during production rather than after years of circulation. A true mint error reflects a manufacturing event inside the mint, while ordinary damage usually results from the coin's everyday use after it entered circulation. Professional authentication plays an important role whenever a collector believes an unusual coin may have significant value. Independent grading services examine the coin's originality, confirm whether any unusual features are genuine mint errors, and assign a condition grade based on internationally recognized standards. This certification process provides confidence for both buyers and sellers because everyone knows the coin has been evaluated by trained specialists. Certified examples in outstanding mint state grades often attract the greatest collector interest because they represent some of the finest surviving examples from the original production. Although stories occasionally appear online claiming that ordinary Oregon quarters are worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, responsible collectors understand that extraordinary prices require extraordinary rarity. Most 2005 Oregon quarters remain worth their face value because they were produced in large numbers and circulated widely. However, exceptional uncirculated examples with outstanding eye appeal, as well as genuine authenticated mint errors, can bring much stronger prices than ordinary circulation pieces. The real excitement of the hobby comes from understanding why certain coins stand apart rather than believing every sensational rumor shared on the internet. Perhaps the greatest achievement of the Oregon State Quarter is not its market value, but its ability to inspire curiosity. A simple 25-cent coin encourages people to learn about volcanic history, Crater Lake National Park, Oregon's admission to the Union in 1859, and the remarkable craftsmanship involved in producing modern American coinage. Few everyday objects combine education, history, geography, art, and collecting into such a small space. That educational value continues long after the coin has changed hands thousands of times. The Oregon Quarter also reminds us that collecting is a journey rather than a destination. Every experienced collector began with a single coin that sparked curiosity. One discovery led to another, knowledge grew through careful observation and study, and over time, an ordinary handful of pocket change became a meaningful collection filled with stories. Whether someone collects for history, artistic design, or the excitement of searching for unusual varieties, the Oregon State Quarter offers a rewarding place to begin. As our exploration comes to an end, one truth becomes clear. The real treasure hidden within the 2005 Oregon State Quarter is not an unrealistic promise of instant wealth, but the remarkable story it preserves. From the volcanic creation of Crater Lake thousands of years ago to the modern presses of the Denver Mint, from the excitement of the 50 state quarters program to the careful hands of collectors who preserve these coins today, every Oregon quarter carries a small piece of American history. It reminds us that even the most ordinary objects can connect us to extraordinary places and unforgettable stories. The next time you receive a quarter in change, pause for just a moment before placing it into your pocket. Turn it over and look closely. You may see more than a simple coin. You may discover a miniature work of art, a lesson in American history, and perhaps the beginning of your own collecting adventure. Whether your Oregon quarter is worth 25 cents or a collector premium because of exceptional condition or a genuine mint error, its greatest value lies in the history it carries and the curiosity it inspires. That is the true magic of coin collecting, and it is why the Oregon State Quarter continues to be admired by collectors around the world.